think.
I hope he didn't.
I hope he didn't. I believe him. So anyway, then in the hospital, like after he sees the whole "don't open dead inside, don't dead open inside,"
Never know.
that
It'll be
was,
funny.
even though I now think he should have at least said something, it was a fantastic visual. Then he has that match and he goes into the like stairwell and he keeps going out and you're like, it's dark. Light another one. And even though nothing happens, it's freaky. I think Maggie had something kind of similar to that in season 11. She
Yeah,
was in a dark
with a
building.
flashlight that fell. Yeah.
Oh,
Mhm.
okay. Yeah.
And then she had to go to matches. Oh, it was so spooky. Yeah.
Yeah, that's spooky. And then coming out to the brightness after he's been in this dark place and also a
Mhm.
coma, that was really effective. And seeing all these corpses wrapped in white sheets laid neatly in rows with blood spots on their heads, meaning I'm sure somebody figured out how you kill a zombie. And then, yeah, he stumbles down the stairs and sees that whole like army camp with the building next to it that's firebombed. And it just such great atmosphere and him, our lead character here, just discovering this world in his feeble state. I don't know why, but that's one of my favorite sequences in all of The Walking Dead, actually.
On his
So
little
good.
bike with his little gown on as well. He's like, there's something so childlike about it that I just really
It is. Vulnerable.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have another point?
I've mainly got notes. I will say that I've got young skinny Rick as a note. Just thinking about Andrew Lincoln looking so vulnerable, because I think he was in his late 30s when they started filming this, and then essentially moved from there into his late 40s. And you really see Rick kind of age over the course of the show, but it works so well because of what happens in the storyline, and it's just funny to see him looking so visibly young. I think I remember reading that Andrew Lincoln was like had a newborn at this point, and he thinks he nailed the audition because he came in sleep deprived and just like not knowing which way was up. And I remember it being a big thing in the UK because we all knew him from Love Actually, or from as this character Egg from a show called This Life. So there was a little bit of like, oh, that guy, that wimpy guy from TV, from Teachers, is going to be on this show. And I just don't think anyone could have watched this show and thought he wasn't the right person for that role, because I think Darabont wanted someone else. He wanted someone like Thomas Jane or somebody he'd worked with before.
Oh, right, yeah.
But this was just
sucked.
so the right call.
I know. And yeah, you'd never think it otherwise. I mean, I think he said he thought about Gary Cooper, who's a old timey, American actor who was in Westerns and had this kind of a solidness to him. And I think, when he gets on his horse, that helps. He feels like a cowboy in this episode. And speaking of on the horse, when he goes into the city, there's that iconic scene where he's on the road with, it's such a beautifully composed shot. And I never can help but think, dude, if you're scrambling to get out of the city and it's so backed up that you're dying in your car, you'd probably go on the other side of the road too. It wouldn't just be empty. You know what I mean? Other cars would be coming there.
They just really love the rules of the road. I'd forgotten as well the farmer and his wife. That the couple that have taken their own lives.
Oh, I forgot about that too.
Yeah, it's brutal. But Rick makes a horse friend. But for how long?
I was watching this with Nico and Bodhi. And Nico, was Bodhi there? Yeah, Bodhi and Nico had only seen the finale because we had that big finale party.
Yeah, they did.
And they weren't born yet when this aired, so now they've only seen the finale and the pilot. And and Nico asked if this guy, meaning Rick, was still alive, and I'm like, yeah, he'll be in a series called The Ones Who Live. And he was like, what if at the end of The Ones Who Live, Rick wakes up from his coma, which is something we used to kind of joke about.
He's so your son.
I know, that's so funny. And the scene where Rick sees the dead family in the house that you just mentioned that we'd forgotten about, with the father having shot himself in the head, Bodhi, who's only 6, said, that guy's brain is gone. And I'm like, I'm a horrible father for that you're watching this.
And then Jenny came home and was like, what the
yeah,
fuck?
she was not home. And I said, this isn't real, right? It's like a costume. And that inspired me to switch over. I just paused and went to the season 2 and then season 3 finale and showed them I was in it, so they could kind of see that, oh, you were in it, but you're alive, so it's not real. But then Bodhi's like, you're in this? And I'm like, yeah, talk about a flex, right?
Someone's finally like, oh my God, cool. That's amazing.
yeah, that was so cool. And it did the job, He's like, okay, it's like a costume. And I'm like, yeah.
Oh, bless. So will they watch all of it? Are you going to rewatch with them?
Maybe, yeah. I
that's
asked Nico
lovely.
if he'd be interested. He wants to know who the voice in the tank was for sure.
Oh, don't get too attached, baby. Don't get too attached.
That's right. So, and then that final scene was pretty spectacular. I especially loved when he followed the helicopter, which may have been a CRM helicopter, right? We don't know.
Interesting point, right? I was like, oh yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then he goes around the corner and there's a convention of zombies there, and he's like, "Oops, sorry."
And the horse is like, "Holy shit!" and like runs away.
That was so amazing.
Oh, that poor horse.
Atlanta, because I remember watching just being hungry for more city scenes because we get so much forest throughout so much of this series, the woods, and the city reminded me of the Daryl show with Paris. It's just so nice to be in a different setting sometimes. So I loved that whole end scene. It was great, even though it was horrifying and sad for the horse.
Oh, the horse, man.
And under the tank was so tense.
That was stressful.
Yeah.
So
and he almost shot himself in the head.
Yeah, was the tank just open and he didn't realize till he looked up to shoot himself in the head, and then he's like, oh, there's a door.
Yes.
So that's kind of funny. Sorry.
Yeah, I know. He's like, oh, well, let me try this.
He's like, I'm gonna. Oh, wait.
It was an interesting way of framing it because I guess they didn't want us to see it before he did.
I'm sure there was a story, or a piece of trivia that the soldier in the tank is actually a known actor, and the plan was always to have either a flashback or a filler of how the tanker got to be there and the story of the soldiers in the tank, but it never got told.
That's a fact.
I'm fine not knowing that. I kind of liked it as it was.
I mean, Darabont said for the season 2 pilot, he was going to show that whole battle between the military and the zombies and how the military fell, but AMC didn't give him the money for it.
I'm okay with that. I can live with that.
It's fine. We've seen enough of that.
Yeah.
The only other point I have is I was going to just talk about a little bit about my experience with the actors, because if you didn't know, Walker Stalker asked Karen and I to go do Q&A for their first convention back in 2013.
Their first one?
Yeah. And then I ended up staying on with them and running panels. I produced the panels for the whole time, and I did over 200 panels. And
200, that's amazing.
We interviewed on the podcast Andrew Lincoln, Sarah Wayne Callies, who's Lori Holden, Andrea Jeffrey DeMunn, who's Dale, Stephen Yun, who's Glenn, and Chandler Riggs, who's Carl. And then I've done panels with all of them, plus Bernthal, Shane, Lenny James, Emma Bell, who's Amy, and Addie Miller, even the teddy bear girl.
That's wild.
And then I was on the show a couple of times. I was in the season 2 and 3 finales, and I'll talk a little bit more about that when we get to those episodes. But is there any of those actors that you're curious about what they're like at all in particular?
All of them. I mean, I'm genuinely really...
I mean, yeah, I could talk about all of them, but I don't know if we have time for that, Let me see. Who's most interesting? I mean, if you go back and listen, we talked to Stephen Yun quite a few times. And he was really fun. And if you just want to hear the podcasts with any of those people who are listening, go to podcastica.com. There's a really good search function on there, and search for any of their names, and the podcast with the interviews will come up. But Stephen Yun was really fun. But what always stands out to me is when we told him that we loved his character, and he reminded us of Hurley on Lost, and he didn't like that because he hadn't seen Lost, but he's like, is that the comic relief? I don't want to be that. And we didn't want to spoil it for him, but we're like, no, he's really important by the end of it.
Yeah. I think Karen especially loves Stephen Yeun.
But in my experience over the years, he's got a a real edge to him. I think he just cares a lot about, I think what it is he's a stand for strong Asian representation in things.
Yeah.
And so he really, in service of that, cares about how his image comes across. And so when I do panels with him, sometimes I'd ask him something and he'd just be like, I don't want to talk about that. And it would feel a little bit prickly sometimes, but I think that's why he just wanted to be careful about. So I'm like, what color's your underwear? And he's like, I don't want to talk about that. I don't know. No, I'm
Stephen, why won't you take your top off? I don't want to talk about that.
Can I get someone else in here to do this interview?
I read an amazing article about Stephen Yeun. I think it was round about when Minari was coming out.
Such a great movie.
Yeah, this is it. It's because I was quite fascinated with Stephen Yeun because when his family first emigrated from Korea, they emigrated to Saskatchewan, this town called at the capital of Saskatchewan called Regina, which is not a big place at all. And I think they swiftly moved on from Saskatchewan to Michigan, where he kind of got involved in a lot of improv and stuff. And I think it's a New York Times article called "The Many Lives of Stephen Yeun" from 2021, and he talks about how difficult that experience was and how that fed into his experience of Minari. And they have this picture of his elementary school class, and he's he's the only kid of color, and he just looks so out of place, and he kind of comments on that and stuff. And I feel like he really tried to really shed The Walking Dead in a lot of ways because he did want to go off and be, and he has been incredibly successful. He's an incredibly talented actor. But yeah, it's interesting that he of all the actors, I think, has kind of distanced himself the most from it. Like there's a scene in Rick's final episode where they use Sasha. Oh my goodness, what is that actress's name? That's terrible. She's a great actress as well.
Sonequa Martin Green.
Sonequa Martin Green, that's it. And it just seems like a part where it's like, surely that was written for Glenn. Surely that would have been logical to have Stephen Yeun come back. But I just don't think he ever would.
No, yeah. I think it was him in the comics when they did that story. I just get the feeling that or maybe it's a combination of these, he doesn't want to be pigeonholed. And maybe that comes from not wanting, to be stereotyped. It's kind of a similar type of thing as a part of a group of people, but just even to be typecast, it's kind of a similar impulse maybe, I just think that because I do notice that he's particular about what he wants to talk about in interviews and stuff like that, but also the roles he picks. As you said, he doesn't want to have to be associated with The Walking Dead anymore. And he just picks such different roles, comedies, Korean independent movies, and weird. The Humans is a really strange movie, but I kind of loved it. I would be curious to know what you would think of that. It's so
I'd like to see it.
Yeah, you should watch that. Maybe we could cover it sometime.
I would love to see Stephen Yeun do a full ass comedy because he's got an improv background and he's so smart.
He's
like
funny.
I think he's so funny, but I can also understand why he's like, I mean, he's incredible in Minari and Beef. If you haven't watched Beef, stop listening to us. Go and watch Beef. Come back and listen to the rest of the podcast. That's just go do it. Do yourself a favor.
I was gonna say I feel like he doesn't want to be pigeonholed, but also I think he's an ambitious guy and he's smart and he knows he wants a good career, and he's been one of the most successful people to come out of The Walking Dead, I think, in these critically acclaimed movies and also fun shit like Transformers and Invincible and comedies. I mean, I'm so impressed with his body of work since he left The Walking Dead, and he's great in all of it.
And this was his breakout role. I think he'd had one walk-on part in The Big Bang Theory, and this was his breakout role. And it's it's like Glenn walked off the pages of the comic. Like it's so good.
Yes.
But so much so much of it is tied up with how Glenn leaves the show, how the show takes a turn.
Oh, I know.
It's rough.
Honestly, I wish he'd stayed goofier longer because I liked early Glenn. It was so much fun. But I don't think Stephen Yeun liked that because it seemed demeaning or something. That's the sense from what he said about not wanting to be comic relief. And I understand that, and I don't blame him, but I thought it was so fun to watch him fumble around with Maggie early on and stuff like that.
He was so loved. Like, he was so loved.
Yeah.
I keep meaning to watch. I think Karen recommended it to me. There was a Pedro Pascal and Stephen Yeun actors on actors for Variety.
Oh, I don't know.
I really want to watch that and hear about it.
But
yeah.
I think since he said in this episode, "Hey, a dumbass in the tank," it totally warrants a 30-minute discussion that we just had on him, because
definitely
it's Stephen Yeun, and I mean, we're going to do 30 minutes per line going forward.
For him, absolutely. It's going to be like so.
Absolutely.
So Stephen Yeun, yeah, let's talk about him. But I think his. I'll defend us in that his loss from the show was such a pivotal moment in how people felt about the show. I feel like in some ways it was a pivotal moment for this podcast, because I don't know, I feel like it was a hard thing to go through as people.
There's
who
someone missing now, you might notice.
Yeah. I don't think that's the only reason, but I don't think it helped.
Well, it ties into the other character that was part of that.
And I think that's the thing that I'm finding the hardest, is even just hearing those wee lines, I'm immediately like overjoyed that it's Glenn, but devastated because I know what's going to happen.
Yeah. And I'm just kidding around. I mean, I think Glenn is an important character. Stephen Yeun's a great actor. I'm glad it was fun to talk about him, for sure.
I would love to see a prequel of him delivering pizza. I would watch that.
Absolutely.
If the Oscars dry up, now, come back and do that, Stephen. It'd be great.
Yeah, slum it on The Walking Dead.
Yeah, slum it, man.
Do you have any more notes?
I do. Morgan has a tattoo. Forgotten that. Don't know if it's Lenny James that has it or Morgan, but it looks a hell of a lot like his ex-wife. It's on the top of his arm when he's talking to Rick, and I'm like,
does it say CRM?
No, it's of a woman. And Peter and I were like, that looks really like his zombie wife. Has Dwayne got a tattoo gun?
You mean it looked like the zombie, or
it looked like his zombie wife? Like, I'm not even kidding. I'm actually going to Google right now Lenny James tattoos, because if it's a real tattoo, I've got questions. If it's a fake tattoo, I've got even more questions. Like, it's so strange. Yeah, I'm gonna hang on.
Okay.
Oh, it's a whole Reddit thread. Everyone, we need to talk about Morgan's tattoo. I should have done my research before this.
Mm-hmm.
It's sorry. It's such a bad tattoo. Like, no offense to people with tattoos. Hang on, I'm sharing my screen. This is Morgan's tattoo.
Yeah, it's not the best. Yeah, I mean, you can only see your eyes in there, so
yeah. I'm just confused. I'm confused.
Messy hair.
Yeah, I'm just confused about, like, is that Lenny James's tattoo? Is that, like, did Dwayne do it? Like, I have questions. That's all I'm going to say, is I have questions. Did Dwayne do it? They got really bored and they found a tattoo gun, and they're like, do you know what? Let's commemorate Mum in the way that she would have wanted. Let's give you a tattoo.
And they're like, we lost all the pictures, but you can just look out there and for
your stupid mum took all the photo albums and left them somewhere.
Look through the peephole and you'll see.
Another thing that hit quite hard was seeing baby Chandler Riggs, like little Chandler Riggs, so young.
Oh God! And also for the same reason as Glenn, just thinking about his death,
being like, oh, that's a bummer.
It just I more and more over time. When I think about AMC letting him go, I just think such a big mistake. That's what I think.
Yeah, it was just
why
he seems like a victim of a much bigger, stupider argument. But he got to be in the finale. You read about that, where he was a hilltop guy. I like that.
I would have so much respect for Chandler Riggs if during filming, just as a joke, he just like ran up to the camera and be like, "I'm back, guys."
I'm back, bitches.
Throws the hat off, and
Judas like,
director's like, cut, reset, get him out of here. No.
He's escorted off the premises, like, worth it.
So we have, we're maybe going to do a regular segment. It was Jonathan Buckalil's idea. I think they did something like this on Andor called Only in Star Wars. So we're going to do the same thing, only in Star Wars. No, I'm just kidding. We're going to do only in The Walking Dead. And that's just picking out something that would only happen in The Walking Dead in this episode.
I'm going to go for shooting a little girl in the head and not feeling sad about it. Or feeling sad, but also sympathetic.
Yeah. I mean, I had the same thing. Only in The Walking Dead is it heroic in a sad kind of way to shoot a kid.
Yeah. I
So,
10 out of 10. I will
ding,
put
ding,
a stamp of
ding.
approval for that. Well, my contributions, I think, to this rewatch are going to be I did an IMDb dive for trivia.
Nice.
And for this episode, there were a couple of bits I thought was interesting. At the time that it aired, it had an audience of over 5 million, and it was the most watched premiere on AMC at that in that period. In this episode, and this will link to my next bit, we cover the longest time span till what comes after, which is the episode in which Rick departs, and we time jump to see Judith as a kind of, I think she's about 9 or 10.
Really? Oh,
yep.
Wow. I didn't know that.
There are 4 kills for Rick in this episode, which I talked about earlier. So
even
those
in
were
between seasons?
Yeah. So because the other bit I want to do is the apocalypse timeline. So in this episode, we are plus 59 days into the apocalypse. So Rick has been in a coma for quite a long time. The Walking Dead wiki has a great amount of detail in what happens between day 0 and day 59. But we see Rick waking up on day 59. He spends the day and night with Morgan and Dwayne, and that takes us into day 60, where he ends up in the tank. So at the end of this episode, we're on day 60 of the apocalypse.
Cool. And yeah, he had his zombie nurse, so it's fine.
Yeah. And then in what comes after, we cover a period of, I think, 6 years, 7 years, something like that. There's a big time skip. So according to IMDb anyway, this is the longest time skip that we
Obvious threat to untold numbers of citizens.
The people it kills get up and kill.
Are they slow moving, Chief?
Yeah, they're dead. They're all messed up.
This is a Walking Dead Cast news update.
News.
I missed that music. We've been having, although I loved having Mr. Blog and Infected News. That felt very nice.
Yeah, we'll resurrect that at some point.
Yeah.
So first thing, a couple of longtime Walking Dead podcasters have decided to go back and start a rewatch of the series. That's us.
Yay!
Yay. So as I mentioned before, I just wanted to bring this point home again. If you would spread the word about this to help make it a success, we would be super grateful. We need a fairly good sized group of listeners to make sure we're able to keep going all the way to the end. And if you send people to thecastofus.com and tell them about it, I think, like I said, if you're in a Walking Dead Facebook group, they might be kind of stoked to know that there's a podcast doing a rewatch, you know? So you'll be a hero if you let them know.
We should really provide you with like a pro forma of like, for all the common arguments of like, but the show got really bad. Be like, well, it got good in season 9 again. So get back on the horse.
Yeah. And when I listened to this podcast, it made me feel euphoric. No, I don't know.
Exactly. This podcast improved my life in all the ways that are possible. And now I am a super sexy, cool individual who earns a lot of money. You can quote me on that.
That's good. So I'll put that link, thecastofus.com, in the show notes too, in case you forget. Thanks, everybody. I just want to reiterate for people who haven't been tuning in. Well, if you haven't been tuning in, that means maybe you didn't watch the Daryl show, and we watched it and we loved it and we covered it, and we had some nitpicks, but it was super fun and very well done.
Yeah. And we all want to go to France.
Yeah, absolutely. So I recommend watching that. But so on the spin-off front, The Walking Dead, The Ones Who Live, about Rick and Michonne, headed up by Scott Gimple, is going to be out in February, and we plan to cover that. And we finished up Daryl Dixon's season 1, and season 2, I think they said, comes out next year. Yeah, 2024. So that's that. I don't know about Dead City season 2. Will that be out next year too? I bet you it will. Yeah, I don't think they let more than a year go by. And Ben will be back covering that.
Yay!
Whoever else wants to come on. Yeah, he was great.
He was so good.
Next, Fear the Walking Dead is wrapping up its 8-season run. Yay! And we're not the biggest fans of that show, but listeners have asked that we cover it. So I do a Patreon exclusive Fear the Walking Dead Roundtable rant about each episode. If you pledge at any level at patreon.com/Jason Gabassi, you can hear me talk shit about that show.
It's very therapeutic. Thoroughly recommend.
Yeah, it's pretty fun. And this is the last one. It's the 10th anniversary, as I mentioned, of Walker Stalker Con, and they're going to be re-releasing all the panels from the first convention online for free. It's kind of a virtual convention, and they're releasing them on the same time schedule as when they first appeared. That happens November 4th and 5th, coming up here pretty soon. You'll see me and Karen doing Q&A with Stephen Yun, Denai Guerrera, Giancarlo Esposito, and a ton more. And I did 12 panels at this thing. I don't know how I did that, but there's also some other great ones that James and Eric moderated. So I would recommend checking that out. There's contests and giveaways of some sort. So if you want to find out about all that, you can go to the Facebook group, facebook.com/Walker Stalker Convention.
Excellent.
Yeah. All right, let's get into some listener moans, groans, and grunts. So I mentioned this last time, but I think it would be really fun for the rewatch to make a new one of those with zombie sounds from you guys who are listening right now. So if you want to be a part of that, send me your zombie sound and I might stick it in there.
Who's the kid? The second to last one that goes, "Dah."
We had zombie sound contests early on, and I think we gave out like the first collection of The Walking Dead.
That's so cool.
And so little kids
I wonder what they're doing now. I wonder if they know.
They're like,
that's so
know.
Funny.
Because you were saying how Andrew Lincoln started off looking so trim and young, and now he's aged over the course of the series. And I'm like, and who else has is all of us.
Yep. Right. Okay, so listener moans, grunts, and grunts. Kate Harvey says, perfect timing for my annual rewatch. Oh, Kate, amazing. Let us know what you think.
There's so many listeners who watch it a lot, every year, every few years. And I haven't watched it since the beginning. And I guess that means that some of these listeners are more dedicated. They're bigger fans of The Walking Dead.
We'll just hand it over. Just call in. We'll just hook you up.
Yeah. I mean, that's another thing too. I wonder if people are going to want to do it as slow as we are, one episode a week. They might just not be able to help themselves and they'll just binge right through, And I figure we'll reevaluate after we finish season 1 and see if we decide we want to do like a few at a time or something like that.
Yeah, I feel season 1, you got to do it one at a time because it's such a short season. And then, see where we get to. It.
Juan Frausto says, what an episode. This is the standard I judge all sitcom pilots by. Okay.
Cool.
I'd like to hear that. Let me hear you. I want to hear what you think of the Cheers pilot as judged against The Walking Dead.
The Walking Dead as a sitcom would be great. I'm just imagining the Seinfeld music every time like someone walks into the room. Diane Ryan says, this is good timing as I've recently started a rewatch. I'm on season 2 at the moment. We're not far behind you, Diane.
Cool. Beth Nichols says, I think this is probably the best show premiere of all time. I've watched it over and over. Heart. Very good. I mean, after, like I said, Karen and I started 3 months before the show came out, and we're just like, man, we're putting a lot of time into this. I hope it's good. And I remember watching the pilot with Jenny and some friends of ours and just being so relieved.
Oh, you
afterwards.
must have been.
Oh my God, it's good. Yes.
And you got that again with The Last of Us, where it's like, oh.
Absolutely, yes. Yeah.
Mark McBurney says, one of the greatest pilots I've ever seen, and the effects are great. Unfortunately, they haven't added The Walking Dead to UK Netflix, so I won't be watching along, but I will be listening. P.S. You'll have to let me know about the Scotland meetup next year, as I live just down the road. Amazing, Mark. We will.
Yeah, we should. So we're Karen and David and I are planning to go out and visit Lucy, and I hadn't really thought about it, but we should like pick a night and say, hey, anybody want to meet at this bar in Edinburgh?
Yeah, I think that would be great. Cool. Mark, I had to crack out my Blu-rays. I have seasons 1 to 4 on Blu-ray. You know when Blu-rays and DVDs were still a thing? So yeah, we actually, it was very retro, but cool, very cool.
Very cool. They look great. Jonathan Bucklow says, here we go. Very keen to see how it all holds up. I was a little late and was able to binge season 1 and 2, so I wasn't frustrated with the pace, but I'm on board with the week to week for the rewatch and can't wait to see Rick. This isn't a democracy anymore, Grimes. Wield that python again. Arg. Nice. Glad you're on board, Jonathan.
Amazing. Fred Wiesinger says, I waited eagerly for this episode to be aired back in the day and was not disappointed. Looking back, I really miss the old days when The Walking Dead was truly scary. Also, I think that scene with the hospital doors saying "Don't Dead" open inside was probably the genesis of the thousands of similar memes that followed. You're so right, Fred. I think we need to have a meme watch because The Walking Dead has spawned some great memes over the years. So meme in the wild when you see them.
So watching, he said back when it was truly scary, and it just reminded me that a lot of people say The Walking Dead was better in the earlier seasons and then never quite reached that again. And I've argued against it. When we did our rankings, I ranked the later seasons higher, but watching it now, I'm kind of trying to have an eye on that. Like, were they right? Is it actually better now? And I do think this is one of the standout episodes of The Walking Dead, but I've always felt that way. And I think in part it's because of the things I mentioned. It's so focused on just these characters and these, family and
simple
apocalypse. That's simple. But I don't know. What do you have any thoughts on any of that?
I think this leans way more into the horror aesthetic. And I think it's seeing the characters be scared makes a difference. Where in later seasons, they're almost superheroes by the end. They're not fazed by things.
That's a good point. Yes.
So seeing the fear on Rick's face and the unknown and the uncertainty, that amps it up. And that was really effective.
Yeah. The zombies are just kind of pests later on.
It's just like they're basically having conversations while knifing zombies in the head.
On fear, literally.
Yeah, literally. Like Game of Thrones had sex position. We have Z position where we're like, anyway, as I'm stabbing this in the head, here's my monologue about my life.
I mean, they're just having like discussions on fear about their relationships, and the zombies are just kind of standing by over to the side, waiting for them to finish so they can come in and try to eat them.
Or like in a wrestling ring, that happened.
Oh my God. Oh, all right. Brad Holt says, Brad Holt, maybe the greatest first episode / pilot of any show ever. Yes, I said it. I was not familiar with the comic when I sat down to watch this the first time. 13 years later, and I still love it. And I've read every issue of the comics and seen every episode of the original and all the spinoffs thus far. Was hooked the moment Rick shot the zombie girl in the cold open.
I was thinking about that, what Brad was saying about not having watched the comic. Like, we were living, it was the first flat Peter and I'd ever lived in together in Glasgow, and I remember we were sitting and The Walking Dead was being advertised on like our Sky TV package, and I was like, I really want to watch that. And I feel like we binged all 6 episodes in one day. And I just am like, oh man, that changed my life. Like choosing to watch that show and be like, yeah, I'm going to watch that. It's just cool to think back to like 2010 and how that was. It was.
Right.
I remember just seeing Andrew Lincoln in a cowboy hat and being like, huh, that guy from this life? Huh? And then watching it and being like, oh, it's amazing.
There was a movie called Human, what was it called?
Human Traffic.
It was just this Human Traffic, yeah. And it was, I saw it at Sundance in like the year 2000 or 2001. And that was also when I was first like getting into raving and taking ecstasy and stuff. So I was like, that's what that movie was about. It was about kids taking ecstasy and raving. And I was shocked when I went back and watched it again fairly recently and
Andrew
saw
Lincoln.
that the jaded raver was Andrew Lincoln. Oh yeah, these raves, they used to be so great, but now they're no good or whatever.
Yeah. He's everywhere.
Yeah.
Ahuva O'Hayan says, it's definitely not my first rewatch, but the pilot never gets old and it's always impactful. The sets were beautiful and Andrew Lincoln does an incredible job. But did anyone else notice Morgan's tattoo? Well, Ahuva, yes, I did. What do you guys think it is? I thought it kind of looked like his zombie wife. Oh, Ahuva, you're so right. And do we ever see it again, or did it get magically removed in the apocalypse? I'm going to be keeping an eye out. I'm going to be, to watch is going to be my purview, and I will report back.
Yeah, we're going to have to research that a little bit too and find out what the hell is going on. Because you're right, it does look like not his wife, but his zombie wife. Doug Fick says, I was reluctant to get on the Walking Dead bandwagon back in the day, and they were in season 4 by then. I finally relented, and when the cold opened, little girl, blam, I was hooked. I started mainlining Walking Dead from that day forward. It was a truly scary episode. In retrospect, knowing it was premiered on Halloween makes it all the cooler. It's fun to see how the Zeds were in episode 1 as they worked doorknobs and chilled on buses until a scent aroused them. Looking forward to the retrospective. Cool. I'm glad you're watching, Doug.
Yeah, they kind of sleep, don't they? Yeah, I hadn't thought of that, Doug.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of like the comic with the roamers and the lurkers, you know?
Sam Lowe says, yay, still one of the best TV pilots I've seen. The writing, the acting, the pacing, so great. I watched the premiere at the very beginning and remember having a terrible headache that day, but being mesmerized by the episode. It was unlike anything I'd ever watched, and I wanted to know more. Rick as a guide for the audience was so effective. We were discovering this world with him. I remember also thinking, that guy from Love Actually can actually act. Looking forward to the rewatch. Yay, Sam.
I kept hearing, yeah, Andrew Lincoln's in Love Actually, this like iconic romantic holiday movie that a lot of people hate and a lot of people love. And I finally got around to watching it, and I just couldn't believe what a creepy dude he is in there. I'm like,
Oh, he's such a creep.
Right?
So
That's what I
gross. So gross. Like awful.
I'm like, I didn't want to see that. Thanks.
And he's also like, he's so mean to her. I'm like, this is like
Yeah,
incel
he's the
territory,
worst.
man. He's the
And I
worst.
did see him like holding up those signs, you know, like just in passing, you know, maybe a clip or something. And I'm like, okay, it's kind of like the Say Anything guy with holding the radio above his head. It's this romantic gesture. But then in the context of the movie, it's like, no, dude.
It's awful. I bet that's how he's going to turn up back at Alexandria with freaking signs. Hey, Judith, it's your dad.
I'm so sorry. I was at a spa. It was really nice.
Judith's like, who the fuck are you?
Yeah. Wendy says, we watched last night as a group. Really loved it. Such an amazing, some of the Zed heads are watching.
Yeah,
at least they're going to try to watch it group nights. Such an amazing cold open. I really enjoyed the attention to detail, the dead flowers, the clock stopped. In many ways, they let the viewer figure things out for themselves in a better way in those early episodes. Yes. That hospital hallway scene, almost done in black and white, still brings a cold chill even after all these years. It's just a great scene, and it's the hallmark of The Walking Dead. Yes, I agree. The beginning of Morgan and that ending. Hey, you dumbass.
Wyman Owens says, I feel I need to comment. There is a new game coming out in November, December called The Walking Dead Destinies. Basic premise from what I could follow from the trailer is that throughout the gameplay you will run into key moments of our Walking Dead story. The catch is that you will have the opportunity to change it. For example, Carl dies on Green Farm after Otis shoots him. Laurie survives childbirth, or Shane kills Rick on the farm. Good or bad, I'm going to pick it up and give it a whirl. Okay, back to your regular station. That sounds interesting, Wyman. Report back.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that because I've seen it, but I haven't looked into it, and I didn't know quite what it was about, but that sounds like it has a lot of potential to be good if the writing is any good at all. It could also be not so good, but it's worth a look for sure. It sounds pretty cool.
I'm looking to see what it's getting released on and whether I might just make Peter play
I think it might be iOS, but I'm not sure. Lanny Gilbert says, I can't wait. And I meant to put that at the beginning, but she can't wait. So that's cool.
You had to wait. We're so sorry, Lanny.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Veronica Hood says, the only episode I ever really felt scared when he stumbled into the dark staircase of the hospital. I was terrified, but I was also hooked. I wasn't a zombie fan, had never read the comics, and here I am all these years later still enthralled with the world of The Walking Dead. Such a strong pilot with just the right amount of heart to balance the world of the undead against. Wild to watch this now, knowing the fate of these characters' deaths, and some worse than deaths, being sent to fear. Excited to be revisiting it with you and Lucy. Yay, Veronica, we're glad you're here.
Yeah, absolutely. Now we have a call. We haven't heard from in a while. Owen from Leeds.
Owen.
Good morning, people of Podcastica, specifically you Walking Dead folks. This is Owen from Leeds here to discuss episode 1, season 1 of The Walking Dead. And if I've recorded this too late, well, that's life. I thought it was a great episode. I feel huge positivity. I feel like hopefully this will get past season 1. I think 11 seasons will be the perfect number, but we'll see what gets announced. I like this Morgan character. I assume we're going to see plenty of him over the next 2 or 3 years.
Definitely.
And we won't have to wait at all. Positive that we'll see plenty of him. And my predictions for the people to die... there was a brief little clip of some guys in a camp. I guess they're going to be kind of important. They spoke on a radio. So, we'll we'll see them. I assume, I don't know, maybe Beth will die. Don't even know if we've seen her yet. I think we did. As truth be told,
No.
I've not watched the episode, but I recall it from a dream, perhaps. But anyway, I think the Walking Dead shall be a fine show, and I may watch season 1, episode 1 now, actually. Yes. I reckon Jenna will be a good name for someone. They might be important. Anyway, good day. Hope you're all well, and Godspeed.
Amazing.
You should let us know what you actually thought after you watch it.
Yeah, I'd be really intrigued to know how this goes.
But I think all his predictions are pretty solid, though. Yeah.
It just flashed up that Destinies will be released for the Switch, and I'm a lame little Switch gamer, so that makes me happy. I can play Walking Dead Destinies on my Switch.
Cool. Yeah, we have that too. That'll be good.
Amazing. Oh, Owen, love your calls.
Yeah, good to hear from you. I hope you keep calling in for this. Ben Woods says, one of the best pilots of any show ever. I was unsure of what to expect from a zombie TV show, but the tension through the hospital was incredible. And at the end, when the horse got eaten, I knew it was going to be a great series. It's so funny. People are like, when the little girl got shot, I was hooked. Or,
yeah, when the little girl
horse got eaten, that just did it for me.
10 out of 10.
The excitement, I mean, these are our people, obviously. Mm-hmm. The excitement with the walkers through the city was great, and Glenn's voice in the nick of time was incredible. Hey, you dumbass. Yeah, you in the tank. You cozy in there? Thanks so much for doing a rewatch. I've wanted to do this since it ended, but haven't gotten around to it. Likewise. Mm-hmm. Thanks for all you do. Keep up the great work. Well, thanks, Ben.
Oh, thanks, Ben. Alma Contreras, hi Alma, says, well, you know I love doing my Walking Dead rewatches, but this time it will be fun to do it alongside the podcast. For starters, I love how freaked out Rick is after waking up all hell broke loose. I agreed with everyone that the pilot episode is one of the scariest, and I don't care how many times I watch it, my anxiety skyrockets throughout the whole episode. I too was hesitant on watching the show. The first episode I tuned into was season 4, episode 8, and I was mind blown. Emoji. Needless to say, I ended up becoming obsessed and binge watching everything before the season break was over. Been obsessed ever since. And we are glad you are, Alma.
Yeah, cool. I wonder how many people watched it and were just like, nope, not for me. There must have been some.
I'm sure they're listening right now.
Andrea Hatfield Olmsted says this was one of TV's most iconic opening pilot scenes in history. I've been a fan since season 1. One of the best scenes in this episode was Bicycle Girl. Rick's emotional reaction was amazing, and how he came back to her to put her down. We knew what a great lead character we were getting. I love that too. I loved how we ended up getting the backstory on it later too. You and Lucy should review those webisodes, by the way. That would be awesome. They all connected to the universe. Also, who can resist don't dead open inside or don't open dead inside iconography on the door. In my opinion, how Frank Darabont wrote these characters, how realistic the terminology and acting was, made it great. Excited to rewatch. Take care.
Oh, Andrea.
Good. I'm glad you're watching. Those webisodes, I remember not digging all that much. So I don't know if we'll go back, but we did talk about the Bicycle Girl one on the podcast when it came out.
I liked Red Machete. I want to go back and watch Red Machete
me
again.
too.
That was a cool one. Jennifer McGinley says, I was in a routine of going to bed at 9 to watch a show after putting all the boys to bed, tidying up, etc. And that was my time to chill, going to sleep at 10. So having done this one night in 2011, having watched a CSI episode on Channel 5 in the UK, I heard the voiceover, stay tuned for new zombie show before I'd zapped off the TV. Oh, dilemma. Lose an hour of precious sleep or watch a zombie show. Zombies prevailed. I remember thinking, this isn't a new show. I've definitely been here before, which was due to the 28 Days Later similarity in a couple of scenes. Enjoyed it immensely and was excited for the next episode a whole week later because it was the olden days and you had to be blessed with the gift of deferred gratification. Oh, Jennifer, amazing.
Yeah, I wonder if she would have gone back to it if she hadn't watched it that night. That might be another life turning point.
These are our destinies. These are our Walking Dead destinies.
That's right. That's good. Laura Willie Swink says, I remember watching the pilot by myself in the bedroom with the lights out after putting our youngest to bed, October 31st, 2010. I'd never read the comics, but the show had been hyped up for months on Facebook and at our neighborhood Alamo Draft House, great theaters, by a local horror movie fan club. As a lover of horror movies, I had to tune in. And I was blown away with what was shown in the first episode. Rick shot a little zombie girl in the face. I'd watched, quote, horror series in the past, X-Files, Carnival on HBO, and a short-lived network show called American Gothic, but I'd never seen such great production value on TV. It was cinema worthy. I never could have realized that night that I'd get into a 13-year relationship with a show, but it sure was worth it.
Oh, Lara. Lara's one of the first people I remember hearing like write in and call into the podcast. She and Reemba, they're two of the earliest names I remember hearing when I was a listener.
Yeah, and I remember I think she was, she'd like challenge things that we'd say sometimes. And I'd be like, oh, who's that? You should do that again, Laura. Challenge us.
Laura. Challenge us. Bring forth the challenge. Shanna says, fantastic world building straight from Kirkman's vision in the comic. My favorite parts of this iconic episode are the use of silence. As Rick navigates his new reality alone, we follow most of his journey without any dialogue. There are no words needed. We don't even hear his voice until over 3 minutes into the episode. The sounds we do hear are the flies and the moans with a lone hoofbeat, which is a reminder as we begin this journey, the world belongs to the dead. The fight to reclaim the world from the dead is revisited all the way up to the finale, when Daryl declares, "We ain't the Walking Dead." Yes. Thank you, Jason and Lucy, for taking us back on this ride. I look forward to experiencing the rewatch each week. Can we get some guest appearances from Karen? I hope so.
No.
But probably not.
Because I said, Karen, you should watch the Daryl show. She loves France. And I said, it's well done. And she said, send me some episodes. So I sent her the first couple and she wrote back, I watched it and I loved it. And I'm like, oh, good. Come on and talk about it with me and Lucy. And she goes, no, I'm burnt out on The Walking Dead. And I'm like, but you liked it. So I just think she just doesn't, she's burnt out on it, which is too bad. Too bad. But she does come and podcast about other things sometimes. So I'm sure she'll be on at some point talking about something. We did Beef. That was the last thing we did. That was, love that podcast.
First bit of The Power, I think, as well. That was fun.
Yeah. Dodie Sheffield says, just did a rewatch this morning. Andrew Lincoln was amazing in his post-coma reactions to A World Gone Mad. I like your turn of phrase there. Proof that fantastic acting doesn't always require dialogue or even monologue. I believed he was experiencing this. I did notice Morgan's tattoo and thought it did resemble a zombie wife. The scene of Rick riding into the city was beautiful and terrible. I haven't read the comics, but I'm thinking this was based on a frame in the comics. I don't
think it was.
Remember.
I need to double check.
Maybe it was. Yeah, I forget. I appreciate the compassion he showed in putting down the torso zombie, but I kept thinking, Rick, get yourself a knife or something pointy. Gunfire is less helpful in a zombie city. A long time since I had watched this episode, but the little girl in the bunny slippers was burned into my brain forever. So I couldn't forget that. Can't wait to see Glenn.
I love how much.
Yeah, that girl is
getting.
Addie Miller, and she's, 20 something now.
Living her life. Her life. Nathan Eshelman says, here's an interesting fact about the pilot. The zombie in the tank with Rick was real. No, I'm joking. Sorry. He was real. The zombie in the tank with Rick was played by actor Sam Witwer, who's most notably known for voicing Darth Maul in various Star Wars projects, but he's also a good friend of Frank Darabont and starred in The Mist, along with many other season 1 actors. Sam has said at conventions and interviews that Frank had pitched him the idea of doing a Walking Dead prequel series showing the fall of Atlanta, sort of like Black Hawk Down, but with zombies, that would end with Sam crawling into the tank with the grenade that Rick would later grab. I'm unsure if it was pitched as one of the web series or if it would have been flashbacks during a Frank Darabont-led season 2, but it was obviously scrapped when Darabont was let go. It makes sense to me that Darabont would cast a talented actor and friend in a minor zombie role if he had every intention of using him again. Interesting points.
If I remember right, he was going to do it in the season 2 premiere, but they didn't let him because they didn't have enough money. I could be remembering that wrong, though.
No,
but then
I feel like that rings a bell.
Parted ways like halfway through season 2 with them for a bunch of different reasons. And then was in like legal battles for 10 years after that. Yeah. Here's a call from Jason from San Diego.
See, Jason. This is Jason from San Diego. I haven't called in a long time, and I don't think I've ever called in about Walking Dead.
Amazing.
But I wanted to call in and just say I'm so happy that we're starting season 1, episode 1 again. This is so fun. So I've a little story. I started to, dig through Netflix or some streaming account to find season 1, episode 1. And my 12-year-old son goes, "Dad, on the DVR, you have the first season recorded." Oh, I do? I don't remember doing that. Halloween, maybe 5, 8, 10 years ago, they replayed all 6 of them in a marathon in black and white, and I recorded them. And it's incredible to watch them in black and white. I did watch both a colored version and a black and white version, and I really like the black and white version. I kind of wish they would have done the series that way. It evokes the comics and all that stuff. In any case, this is episode 1, season 1 is such a lovely setup. I mean, it is a little movie on itself. Yes, there's a little bit of exposition that, just kind of gets you where you need to be. But the characters are set up so good. Rick is the hero we want. Shane is the dick we need. You need a guy that's kind of a jerk, but he's the hero's best friend. I get the feeling watching it over a couple of times, I guess also with the knowledge of, 12 and a half seasons and everything going on, that pretty sure that Lori and Shane had something going on maybe before this went down, and this just made it, boom, instant family. Rick's stuck in a hospital room. So, I remember watching this thinking, God, they could have went in such a different direction with Morgan and Dwayne. That could have been a story in itself, just him getting back to Morgan and Dwayne. Never mind, trying to find Lori in the group. But so in any case, not too detailed of a description on this one, but I just wanted to say I'm so happy this is going on, and I will be trying to be a regular caller every week. So
Sweet.
Good luck. Keep this going. You two do a great job as always. And thank you.
Thanks, Jason. That's great.
That's amazing.
What did you call in on, Jason? I don't recognize your voice. Was it on a show I'm on? Let me know. I'm curious.
I thought it was really interesting that they foregrounded the marital issues in this episode as well. Thought that gave it some layers.
Yeah, I think, so the whole thing with Shane talking about women and all that idiocy was, I think, just because they needed to get into a conversation where it would be revealed that Rick was having problems with Lori. And then you see Shane with Lori later on, that he's taken up with her. So it creates this drama,
And again, he knows that she'll turn the lights off. Rick shouldn't have said that. If he hadn't revealed that,
that Rick will find them, but there'll be that challenge to overcome. So that sets that up, like, oh my God, what's going to happen?
Absolutely.
As far as whether they were having an affair before, I had that thought too. And I was watching this time to see if it seemed like that. And the way that Shane was talking to Rick, I think not. I mean, I don't know though. He's the one who brought it up. So how you doing with Lori anyway? And then when he told him, he seemed supportive, and he was like, it's just a phase. You guys will be fine. But then that could just be him trying to throw him off the scent or something too.
I mean,
but I think not.
All pairs of boobs are interchangeable, I've learned.
And it could be that the reason why Rick and Lori are having problems, maybe her having an affair has something to do with that. Sometimes that can happen where somebody's doing something and then they feel guilty, so they cause trouble at home or something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know. But do you have an actual?
I don't think they are, but I think Shane and Rick have this weird relationship where Shane has always kind of wanted what Rick has. So Shane's clearly modeling himself as this, like, I don't know, playboy, pairs of boobs coming in, putting the lights on and off. Like, there's clearly a difference there. And I think when Rick is in that coma, Shane gets a chance to be the hero almost. And part of that is getting the family and getting the girl and the kid. And I like to think it happened after.
It's what you just said, that could be a case for before, though, if you wanted what
I don't
Rick has.
see Laurie doing it before.
Yeah, I don't think so. I mean, it's hard to know for sure, but I think it's a great complex relationship, and it's fairly common among guys where you'll feel like the guy is your friend. I mean, it's not just guys, it's everyone, but you feel like, yes, this person is my friend, but then there is also that thing about wanting to not be dominated or to be the dominant one.
Mm-hmm.
Personally, I feel like I've avoided that with most of my friends, but I'm watching White Lotus right now, and there's a relationship like that with, you remember White Lotus season 2?
Yes.
Cameron and Ethan.
Yes, that's really interesting relationship.
Yeah. So
Ethan.
It's kind of Rick and Shane are a little bit like that, maybe.
The actor who plays Ethan, I just adore. He's so great. He's a British actor. He was in Will Sharp, I think. He was in a really good dark comedy called Flowers. Love him.
I need to see him in something else because my only association is Ethan, who I despise.
You
He's a dud.
Absolutely need to. Ethan is in the one who's married to Aubrey Plaza, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. You need to watch Flowers.
Asian.
It's really good.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
What else? He said black and white. Yeah, and based off the comic, which made me realize that because they released the first 6 episodes in black and white as an homage to the comic, which was in black and white, and Kirkman said he would never do the comic in color. And then when it was all over, he's now started releasing them in color. And it's called Walking Dead Deluxe, and they have additional back matter where he does Q&A, not comic stuff, but like text where he'll answer questions about that issue or different things. And I find all that stuff pretty fascinating. I haven't been keeping up with it, but I want to go through and look at them sometime.
I like Kirkman's style in those. It's funny. He's very irreverent. He's like, nah, I don't know, maybe, whatever. Negan rocks. No, he doesn't. He's a dick. You're just like,
and he'll say, so-and-so dies next issue, haha, and then they do die. And
yeah,
you're like, I never know what to believe.
You're like, oh.
Okay, my turn. Cara Lachule says, I still remember how amped I was for this pilot, and it delivered. It aired on Halloween night, my first semester of law school. I've always loved anything apocalyptic / post-apocalyptic, so I had my popcorn ready and I was hooked. The opening with the little girl walker was shocking and brilliantly shot, and the bicycle girl walker will always stick with me. Yeah, totally. I still think this is in the top 5 pilot episodes ever, along with Lost and Stranger Things. Lost is so good. The characters all immediately felt lived in, and the show overall just felt so gritty and realistic. Also, that cliffhanger with Rick in the tank and hearing Glenn's voice on the radio, iconic. Not gonna lie, though, the horse being surrounded and eaten by walkers is still one of the most disturbing scenes to me.
Perfect.
I'll close my eyes or fast forward during every rewatch. Yeah, it's really gross, too, with all the
So
intestines
gross.
and everything. Blech. Also, so The Walking Dead and eventually the original podcast with Jason and Karen became an excellent stress reliever and something for me to look forward to every week as a reward for my working my ass off. Can't wait to hear you all dive back into the episode that started it all. Well, I hope you keep listening, Kara, because we love you.
Amazing. Joe Levine says, glad to have an excuse to revisit The Walking Dead from the beginning again. Took some notes for the first time, so I'll try to keep it short. Loved seeing the little girl in the cold open, picking up the teddy bear, back when zombies were zombies. The conversation between Rick and Shane in the car. If only women could figure out light switches work both ways, climate change could be fixed. From the beginning, Shane was a bit of a douche. Rick is not a super smart, at least he wasn't a climate change denier, I guess. Like, I don't know.
That's true.
It
could have been worse.
He's a progressive misogynist, if such a thing exists.
I mean, he has a way of making what he was saying wasn't great, but his attitude makes it sound even worse.
Yeah.
That smarmy look on his face.
Oh, yeah. Rick is not a super smart cop standing out in the open to get shot at for the first shot. Vest or no, don't make it easy for them. But they're all terrible. Why did no one clear that scene before they started talking to each other? Rick has to be a little sick that Laurie and Carl abandoned him. Who's been delivering all that mail since Laurie and Carl hit the bricks? The mailbox is full. Junk mail even gets sent during the ZA. I bet there was something in there to extend their car's warranty. Rick Grimes' first Zed kill was with a baseball bat. Wish it had barbed wire. Wondering, why didn't Morgan take a police uniform? Nice, clean, fresh clothes. Not like anyone else needed it. Sure, now Rick thinks he shit ahead with the radio. Too much to think ahead on a high-speed chase and get behind a car to block bullets. Laurie's already seeing what a life with Shane would have been like. I missed Darabont. These ghouls were much more interesting. Morgan's wife coming up. These ghouls were so much more interesting. Morgan's wife coming up the stairs, trying the doorknob. The herd in Atlanta chasing Rick, eating his horse. The zombie stalking Rick in Atlanta, waiting for him outside the tank. Realism. A gunshot in a tank is loud. Not realism. The place you are cornered by zombies is directly under an open access hole to a tank. Hey, you, dumbass, in the tank. Glenn was great, even in a one-liner. Oh, I like your notes, Joe. Keep doing them.
Yeah, that was good. A couple things. Yes, we said back when zombies were zombies, and these zombies do seem more like classic Romero Night of the Living Dead zombies. I think they would pick things up, and they just looked like they had a little bit more of their humanity sometimes, like these ones.
When men were men, zombies were zombies, and women were just pairs of boobs.
that was classic good times.
The glory days, man. The glory days.
And then Rick, he says Rick had to be a little sick that Lori and Carl abandoned him. I know we find out that Lori thought Rick was dead.
Shane told him he was dead, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
We'll find out.
I don't remember if Shane knew for sure. I think Shane didn't know for sure.
Shane tells them because he knows they won't leave if they think he's alive.
Yeah.
I think that's what happens.
But he just leaves him there in a coma, so he probably writes him off for dead, but knows he left him for dead, basically, right? I think that's what happened. But so. Either way, I know Lori thought, because I think in the comic, actually, Lori didn't think Rick was dead. So the cheating had a different flavor there.
Yeah, I think they go harder on the disintegration of the marriage in the comic, for sure, I think.
Yeah. Danielle Dement Jost says, okay, the very first episode. This is probably going to read a bit like a live Steve, so bear with me. I'm just taking notes as I watch. Wow, I forgot what babies everybody was in the beginning. Rick is so skinny and young. I love seeing the original credit sequence. I've said it's not my favorite, the opening music or the credit sequence, but it was pretty effective here because I think it just really shows that, wow, the world's changed now. You know, it's just apocalyptic scenes, how barren it is, how broken down and messy and everything. So at least for this first episode, I liked it too.
They also play the theme while Rick's under the tank, which surprised me.
Yeah.
We don't usually hear the theme outside of the credits. So yeah, that was cool.
She goes on, oh, so many reasons to dislike Shane. Such a misogynistic jerk. Does anyone else hear his innocent question about how Lori is in a different light? Like maybe he's fishing to see if they're breaking up because he's interested? It could be. Yeah, you're right. The question of how much time passed while Rick was unattended is an interesting one. He survived, so it couldn't have been too long since he wouldn't have had any water. The webisode showed that a nurse was still in the hospital for a while. Oh, I didn't remember that. But I don't think she was tending to him because she would have moved the gurney out of the way of the door. She may have not known he was there or alive and may have been in the hospital when Rick woke up, but their paths didn't cross. Rick's facial hair implies a couple weeks, maybe, assuming a nurse or Lori or someone else was shaving him up until the outbreak, but that might be too long to go without dangerous dehydration. But suspension of disbelief, yes. I mean, the other explanation is that at the end of The Ones Who Live, he will wake up from his coma. Don't dead, open inside. Damn, Bicycle Girl was an excellent first walker. Way to really set the bar high. Nobody does hysterical grief like Andrew Lincoln. Okay, and Sally Field. How in the world did Dwayne mistake Rick for a walker? I mean, he's scared. It's like the world's, that's all they've seen.
Yeah.
Plus, looks like shit. I almost forgot what a good actor Lenny James can be when he's given good material to work with.
Oh, yeah.
I always love the walker who gets off the bus in Atlanta first. Very groovy looking fella. The first helicopter sighting. Poor Rick was haunted by helicopters from the start. Oh, yeah.
There were quite a few helicopters in this episode, both
That's right.
in the air and on the ground.
Maybe he'll be flying one by the Ones Who Live.
Top Gun. Top Grimes.
Right. That moment when Glenn comes on the radio just makes me smile. I love revisiting the beginning of that brotherhood. That's well put. Nitpicks. Walker Leon held onto the fence after he'd been shot for way too long. Morgan using a swivel chair on wheels to provide stability for his gun seems ineffective. I know Rick's radio message was scrambled, but I find it hard to believe Shane, Lori, and Carl didn't recognize Rick's voice, or at least wonder. Yeah, I kind of thought that too.
True.
I love this show.
Yay! We love you, Danielle.
Yeah, that was great, Danielle. Good. Thanks for writing in. She's been such a big fan and listening to the podcast for so long. Appreciate you. Here's one final call from Colin.
Yes, I do sing. Not professionally, but I really enjoy it. I was in 2 metal bands between 18 and now I'm 30. Yeah, my girlfriend really likes my singing. My kids don't. I sing a lot of country and folk, somewhat R&B, if that's the term for it. I don't fucking know. Yeah, y'all give me a rec and I'll sing something for you. Whatever podcast this ends up on, let me know and I'll listen to it. But yeah, Fear the Walking Dead, they can go fuck themselves. It's fucking dog shit. Who brings a character back after 5 seasons with a bumfuck eye and a vengeance? I want to kill Madison. Yeah, go fuck yourself. I don't care anymore. I can't wait for this show to be over in 3 more episodes. Fuck!
That was a response to when he called in about the Daryl finale for people who wondered.
That's hilarious.
Wow, we need a shoot. What was that one? There was a movie with singers from, was it Scotland or Ireland back in the 90s? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Oh, The Commitments.
Yeah.
It's Irish. Yeah.
Yeah. That seems like a good for his voice. They had one song that they kept.
Mustang Sally.
Yeah, Mustang Sally. There you go. Colin, Mustang Sally.
Oh, that'd be great.
Yeah, let's hear it. Alrighty, that is our show, episode 548. Thanks so much for listening, everyone. How did you think that went? Do you think
I loved it? So fun.
Job? Yeah,
I'm so psyched for this rewatch.
Yeah, next episode, Walking Dead Season 1, Episode 2, Guts, where they figure out how to neutralize the zombie threat forever, and
Ignore
they should
it.
just be using it for every episode after that.
And they just forget about it. Just don't do it anymore.
So. I mean, I was glad they did actually go back to it. You know, they didn't just ignore it after that, but they didn't go back to it as much as I would have.
No, I'd just been probably coated in it for like the rest of the apocalypse. I'd had every disease going. On that note, if you want to write in or leave us a voice message about it, you can find all our contact information at podcastica.com.
Yeah, write in, call in. As I said,